Hey guys, welcome to the Agents of I.N.U weekly update. So today, I guess the focus of today will be on the new token release that's just gone live about 2 minutes ago. So if anyone's checked out the website in the last sort of minute or two, you'd see that things have changed slightly. We'll get to that in a bit. So let me just walk you guys through. So update. So we've just launched the next major update of the app, and that's the token page. For those who haven't been following, we now support 5 languages. So that's English, Indonesian, Chinese, Turkish, and French. So the token page hasn't been fully translated yet. So those translations will come shortly. But I believe parts of it are translated already. So I know I've been pretty quiet lately, so I've been actually focusing most of my time on development and trying to take the app to the next level. So I spend a lot of time improving the back end, how we collect data, how we store data, and that's sort of preparation for future updates to the app. And as I'm sure most of you guys are aware, we're listed on CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and Nomics as of a few days ago. But I think we'll start by addressing the elephant in the room, which is our chart. There's been a lot of, lamentations in the group about why our chart has dropped. And so, my death, why hast thou forsaken me? The impatient legion. So here's our chart, right? And so as you can see, we reached a peak of about, I don't know what it is, so about 2,000, whatever those units are, plus a lot of zeros. In start of Jan, and that was on the back of some really good calls and marketing to the Indonesian community. We then reached an all-time high after we went on CoinMarketCap, and we actually smashed through our previous high, and we went to, if you can see that sort of candle up the top there, we probably went to about
1.1 million.
Yeah, 1.1 million. Yeah, 1.1 million market cap, which is huge. And since then, we've sort of been on a steady decline to where we are today. I don't know what that is in market cap. I think about 400 and something. Gimme. Correct me if I'm wrong.
300, 350, I think.
Okay, 350. Okay. So one thing I will say, we've been working really hard. So when you come to analyzing charts, it's really important to look at both volume and the price action. So as you can see, we went up on a lot of volume. We've gone down on very little volume, which indicates that it's just a few sellers who, have given up or whatever, and are moving on. But the majority of people, like the majority of the volume that we've actually gotten, a lot of those people have stuck around. So I wouldn't be super concerned about what you're seeing here. If there was a lot of volume as the price has gone down, that's a lot more cause for concern. Look, we've intentionally been quiet on the marketing side, and we'll get into that a bit later on. But our focus has been getting the next stage of the app out there, getting in the hands of our users, and then using that as the catalyst for the next round of marketing coming up. So in terms of traction, what has changed in the last sort of 2 weeks to a month? So we've now got 3,000 holders of our token. We were about 1,500 2 weeks ago, so we've doubled in that time, which is really promising. Likewise, we've gone from about 800 Twitter followers, from 380 Twitter followers 2 weeks ago to about 800. A lot of that on the back of a contest that we ran, which Robert, thanks to Robert who helped set that up. In terms of the app, we've now got about 200 daily users, pretty steady every day for the last week or so. We peaked at about 300 or 400, but we've steadied down to about 200, and that's 300% more than we had last month. So last month we were averaging about 60 to 70. We've now gone to 200, and that's really promising that those numbers are continuing to grow. Beyond that, our session time's gone from about 2 minutes to 5 minutes. So what that means is when someone goes to our app, they tend to spend about 5 minutes on the website and then move on to anything, just to whatever else they're doing, which again, 5 minutes is actually quite promising at that number, and that's an average session time. So you'd have people less, you'd have people more, but we want to see that number continue to grow, and we think it will on the back of the updates that we'll get into today. So marketing, quaff the degen when marketing. So I guess that's the sort of bane of every token developer's existence is when marketing. I'll let any discuss marketing.
One of the questions I received was when marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Bring up the next slide. So we've spent to date 40 BNB. For those of you who've asked how much have we spent? We spent 40 BNB, actually a little bit extra. And in our marketing budget now, we have well over 40 BNB to spend. And we haven't spent that particular funds over the last couple of weeks for various reasons. One of it was because our main aim was to release this token page, which Abe is going to display to you. And I feel like this will be the next step in terms of chilling. And I think it would be a really big catalyst in helping our project grow. So we intend to use a lot of the funds or the funds wisely to help promote the project on the back of this. And if you look at the last 2 weeks, the market was horrible. There'll be a slide coming up on that. So Abe will discuss that further. Going to the next slide, Abe. So over the period so far, in terms of marketing, we've done 4 AMAs with some big groups. Dave from Crypto Indonesia, Sniper DeFi, a really large French group, Future Lounge, if you guys are familiar with them, and Phoenix Lounge, which is another really good AMA. You guys can check it out on YouTube if you missed it. We've reached various influencers, callers over Telegram, Twitter, and TikTok, and we've actually learned a fair bit from this, because we've spent 4 to 5 BNBs on single influencers and not even a small flick on the chart of green. So big waste of funds here and there. So that's why we're very particular with the way we're going to be spending our money going forward. Abe has a very good idea coming up, which he will explain on how we're going to plan on using our funds very wisely and smartly. Next. You want to talk about the fear in the market, Abe?
Yeah, I do. So just for people that aren't particularly aware, right, of how the sort of DeFi space works. So I'm sure most of us here know this, but I think it's worth stressing the point. So we are driven by Bitcoin. So Bitcoin does control the market to a very large extent, and its control over the market does sway. But when Bitcoin's struggling, the entire market struggles, right? Right now the fear index is at 21. It's actually gone up. It's actually improved a bit in the last week or so, but it's still really low.
It went down to 10 at one point, which is insane.
Which is the lowest since I think
that's why everything crashed. Yeah.
So we've got to keep that in mind, guys. If we're spending marketing funds when the fear index is 10, like you might as well just burn that money. We're not going to get a return on investment. And look, as I'm sure you've noticed by now, we are pretty analytical when everything we do is based on analysis. And when it comes to marketing, what we need to see is improved volume. If we're not going to get an increase in volume on our marketing funds, for the most part, those funds are considered wasted, right? So for us, we do need to be judicious about when we spend our marketing, because those funds aren't unlimited. And look, it does help a lot of the markets. The broader market's doing well. It makes it so much easier for us to get a message across. And even more for an app like ours, usage actually goes up a lot when the market's doing well, because there's so much more to wake into. When the market's struggling, most new tokens are rugs, or most of them are scams. It's very hard to find anything decent, so people just don't even bother. So we also got to keep that in mind. We're not just a meme token, we're a utility token. Utilities do well in good markets, more so even than, I guess memes also struggle, but it's important to keep that in mind. Image, do you want to take over again?
Yeah. So going
ask you real quick.
Yeah, go.
All right, awesome. Well, yeah, it seems really great. You guys seem to be doing a great job. I think a lot of people really appreciate what you said earlier about certain marketing funds that just didn't give the traction that you expected, and being able to admit that and move towards a better strategy. But I was just curious, what is the marketing percentage from the buys and sells?
So at the moment it's sort of fluctuated. So it should be about 50%. So 50% will go into marketing, 50% will get distributed to development costs as well as paying devs and whatnot. And that's about, so it ends up being
15. That was 1.5.
No, 50. So 50% of the 8% tax. So 4% to marketing.
Oh,
so yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, 4% to marketing, 4% to development and devs. We actually for a long time had it as 100% to marketing. So 8% was going all to marketing. and that was because we needed to improve our marketing. Like it was, I mean, there's no point sort of taking a cut of that if we don't have the marketing funds to actually drive the project forward. So recently we've
Makes complete sense.
Yeah, exactly. So on the back of CoinMarketCap, we actually got a lot of volume, which filled up our marketing wallet. Hence why we're now over 40 BNB. So we've sort of reassessed that again. But yeah, and I hope that answers your question.
Definitely, and I apologize for butting in. I know questions should be at the end. My bad.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. So in terms of marketing strategy, we first the most important thing that we want to push out now is word of mouth. We need you, the community, to help us use our app and promote our project through this app. And with the help of this latest token page, which you'll see shortly, this will be very easy. You see somebody talking about a certain token, go insert the contract into the token page, and it gives you a full audit. And then there's a share link, and you just share the link to that person, and they can easily see the audit report and save their life or save their funds or whatever it is. So that's a very efficient way that we can market our project, and for free as well. Next week onwards, we are going to start KuCoin ads. KuCoin, I was talking to Abe, has, I think, ranked 133 in the world for the most visited sites. So they have huge exposure. So this is one thing we're going to plan on doing, and it's also one of the most expensive form of marketing you can do. And we tend to use our funds in this direction. We believe it will give us a lot more return on investment than influencers, but it will be a mixture of everything, to be honest. We intend to do more AMAs, Reddit, a CMS update, and again, calls from influencers. We're not going to neglect that. We're definitely going to hit up some influencers. There are some people in the space which we believe have a good pull and have a huge following, so we tend to call them up on that. We've already made a few agreements, so they're just essentially waiting on us to give them the funds and the green light to go ahead. And just letting you guys know, as I mentioned earlier, not all callers are equal, right? So, you might see a Telegram guy and you go, hey guys, make a call from, I'm not going to give names, but a certain caller, and he has 100,000 followers, but in actual fact, the guy only really has 1,000 followers, and the price he charges is way too much. So we got to be very wary on that, and see who really has a good return on investment. So we're very diligent. We go look at their previous calls.
I just want to even make the comment here. So a lot of people will follow one or two callers. That caller will make a call, and you'll notice the price skyrockets, right? And you think, wow, this call is great. So we've actually been doing a bit more analysis on that, right? Doing that next level of analysis. And usually what happens is when one caller is making a call, there's multiple other callers. So it's really hard to tell which caller is the one that actually brought that volume in. Was it that caller? Was it someone else who's with a much bigger following, much more legitimate following, who also called around the same time? That influenced the price. So it's not as easy as just saying, the price went up, because usually a token comes out, they've lined up 3, 4, 5, 6 different callers to promote their token launch. So we just got to keep it in mind that there is a lot of analysis that needs to be done to actually validate who's good and who's not. Otherwise, we're going to be wasting our funds on callers that aren't going to give us any return.
Exactly. And next is content and promotions. We intend on doing this quite regularly. Robert's very big on this, and he keeps pushing us to do this, and I think it's great. It gets the community involved and helps them promote them to shill our own project, and we intend to do this regularly, weekly. If we can do more than weekly, we'll do it. I think it's great. It's very interactive. We really like the feedback we've got so far. Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, 100%.
In terms of contest. Yeah. So we have a contest we're going to announce on the back after this promotion, the next one that we have lined up. So yeah, stay tuned. Next slide.
So talking about the product update again, so I will do a demo very shortly, but it is the largest update we've done to the agent of I.N.U since launch, and that is the token page that we've been talking about for a while. So as I mentioned earlier, we've also been hard at work improving the foundations of the app, and that's allowed us to not only get the token page to where it's at, but also capture more data, and that's going to enable frequent updates. So we're hoping we'll actually have another update next week. And the way we like to work is incremental updates. So we've got the foundation of the token page now. It's not complete in the sense there's a lot more to add to it, but it's at a point now where we think it's usable. It's going to add value to our users. and we're actually really keen to start getting some feedback. What do you like? What don't you like? So in terms of the upcoming features that we're planning on adding, so we'll improve the chart on the token page. Right now, it's quite bare bones. It does the job to an extent, but we will work on improving it, and it might not be the same. At least for the first one, it might not be the same as the PooCoin style chart. I've got a different idea that I'm going to try play around with, which has different pros and cons. But you guys will see that hopefully next week. We're also looking at adding links to CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko for tokens which are verified, and on the back of that, hopefully show their verified social. So right now we're getting the Telegram and Twitter from the token contract, which can be falsified. But if a token is listed on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, so they would be verified socials, which makes it a lot easier for holders to trust that token is legitimate and not just a copycat. So beyond that, we'll also be adding more advanced holder analytics and analysis. So who are the top holders? How much are they holding? Liquidity, things of that nature. So those will come over the next week or two. And there's also quite a lot of other features which I haven't even touched on that we're sort of churning on in the background. So again, priority will change based on feedback we get from you guys. So please do have a play around and let us know what you like and don't like, and we can plan accordingly. And before I do the demo, so how can you guys as a community help? And every token is built on an active community, and some ways, Imi mentioned this earlier, but yeah, I thought it'd be important to elaborate. So use the app, let us know what you like, let us know what you don't like. Just give us any feedback. If you do find a token that does well, post it in the chat. Any activity is good activity. Be vocal on the Telegram, around the token, around whatever else. Even if you have questions about DeFi in general, if you're sort of new to the space, we're quite happy to answer any questions you might have too. So feel free to reach out on our Telegram groups. Engage on Twitter, like our posts, share our stuff. We've actually got
like Robert's post.
Robert. And there's a few. Supergrass as well. There's a couple others who are churning out content regularly, who we really appreciate. So be sure to engage. Post your own stuff if you want. Take part in our competitions when they do become available. We will. There are rewards for those for those people who are keen on competition. So keep an eye out for those. And also do, as Imran mentioned, she'll mention, go into other Telegrams, promote our project, do with class, don't just spam, this is Agents of I.N.U, bye. Try and sort of work into the conversation so people actually do engage and do listen. We've had a couple of users who managed to do really well just by shilling it in that way. So it's something to keep in mind. So yeah, again, community is really important. So please do try and help out. So I'll quickly go into the product demo now. Okay, so this is so as I mentioned earlier, so this will be the first pass of the token page. So we've made a few cosmetic changes to the main page. I guess the obvious change now is that if you click on a token, it will open up in a new tab, and you'll start to see some more detailed information about that token. So you can see the number of holders that token has, and if you click on that link there, you'll get a link to BSC scan with holder information. So that's sort of a convenience thing for you guys if you want to sort of confirm. So we do update this on different frequencies, so it's not often real time, but I believe this one should update probably every half hour. So it depends on when the token was created. We'll update at different frequencies. You can also see who created the contract if you're interested. The live honeypot status, buy and sell, gas fees. So we've got this price action here that gives you high and low for the day, 20 for a week, high and low, all time high and low. So you can, I guess this token got released today, so that's all those values are the same. But you can sort of, for tokens that are a bit older, you get some really useful information there. You can see daily volume, price, quick sort of price changes over the last sort of 5 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week. Any issues in the contract, then you'll get a price here. We've also got links to other social media. To BEC scan up here. You can open your PooCoin there. So that's version 1. There will be in the next week we'll be adding quite a bit more to this page. So do stay tuned. So I guess it might be worth showing an auto token just to sort of compare what that might look like. So if we look at something like sort of by volume, it's a good one to look at. So crypto cars might be an interesting one to look at. So you can sort of see crypto cars is way down on its all-time high of $27. It's currently at 13 cents. You can sort of see quickly what the price action was like. You can scan over the price. Like I mentioned, that will change by next week. So I'm pretty excited to sort of show you guys how that will function. But yeah, so this does become sort of that that really quick way to get an overview of a token. As Imran mentioned, we'll also be adding share links here, so you'll be able to share to Twitter, Telegram, even like a text summary of the token, and you can post that into whatever groups you want to. But yeah, so I mean, I guess this is it for the initial release. So I'll ask if
you're adding a search button too, right?
Oh yeah, so search isn't there yet. So that will come next week too. So you'll be able to somewhere up here, you'll be able to just type in either a contract address or a contract name, and then that will link you to the token page as well. So I know right now people have mentioned that you don't see every token here. And that's intentional because it's really only showing you active tokens. So if it's a token that hasn't been traded because it became a scam, you want to see, well, what went wrong with that token. So that search bar will let you find that token, open it up and analyze it that way. So that's it for now. We'll answer any questions about that, I guess, towards the end. So let's go back into...
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'm new here. But in agent of I.N.U application, I see very good things. The best is already there. So what I want to ask is, after do my own research based on what the token in these applications to be list. I mean, based on what the token in this application to be list. Based by Binance Smart Chain scan or what?
Sorry. So you're asking what's the criteria for a token to be listed on our app?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, cool. So there's a few ways. So we try and list every single token. So right now, due to a limitation, it's only tokens that have pairs with BNB that get listed here. So that ends up being about probably well over 90%, maybe over 95% of tokens should end up in the app. We do miss the occasional token if we're restarting the server and we just happen to miss that one coming live, but usually we'll pick it up down the track. So by and large, you should find most tokens, especially ones that were released in the last sort of 3 to 4 or 5 months. Most of them should be in here. We do plan on making that more exhaustive and going back, reanalyzing the data and picking up everything if we can. So that you should get pretty much every token on BSC. So again, PancakeSwap tokens only. We don't support other swaps right now.
Yeah, because it's not written on these applications. I think it from BSS scan or CMC should be written on these applications, so we can know the list token.
So it's not coming from any. It's coming from the blockchain itself. So we're listening to the blockchain to find new tokens that are getting released. So we're not using any sort of third-party tool. So it's all based on the blockchain tokens being created.
Yeah, that will be great.
Yeah.
And I have another question, if you don't mind.
Yep. I think we are up to the Q&A now.
Looks like there's... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I'm saying we are at the Q&A stage anyway, so feel free to bring the questions on. So go ahead, Steve.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I know there's a lot of projects out there doing kind of similar stuff. Obviously you guys are a little bit different in many aspects. I know Sonar promises to bring something like this sometime, in the long future. Market Move has, something very similar as well that works pretty good. With yours, are you guys going to be able to go in and look for a sweep function in the contract? Because that's a way that a lot of the scammers, they do a sweep function, but in the contract they name it something else. And the only way to do that is to check for the function itself rather than the name suite in the contract. That's something you guys will be working on, down the line.
Look, one thing that I'm really keen to get to is our improve. So if you notice, if you've seen our website before, you've noticed that we do some contract analysis. It is quite sort of bare bones at the moment, and there's a lot more we can do. So I've actually been prototyping a much more advanced version of that, and that essentially that would be analyzing all the public contracts on a token. So any token that can be called by the token creator or what have you. And sort of analyzing what's happening in there. So one would be looking for similar signatures to other scam functions. So we've now got a huge database of tokens and token outcomes. So whether a token was a scam or wasn't a scam, we've got enough data to apply some smarts, some AI to that, and then tie that into contract signatures, and not only signatures but also I guess contract function logic, and work out, does this function look like a scam? And I guess your surface area
too, because a lot of them, they struggle to find some of the more detailed stuff like that. However, with this, if you're able to do that, it protects your investors a lot more and people using it. It's a little bit skewed when there are certain functions in the contract that will make it look like a honeypot when it's not. So it's a judgment whether the level of fairness per se. It's a bad word. You get the idea, is more skewed toward the investors or toward the tokens that are listed. Yeah. But it should always go in the investor's way.
I agree. So again, that's why we do the live honeypot check. So that does give you, like, if the token analysis, if the contract analysis is saying it's a scam or it's likely a honeypot, but we're still able to buy and sell. That's one sort of sanity check that we can do. But look, 100%. I guess it's not so much that you can't buy and sell now; it's the potential for the developer in future to restrict buying and selling, and either remove liquidity,
remove. That's awesome too, because it does suck for the tokens that aren't a honeypot, where their contract just inevitably looks like that. But in a case of this app, it's always better to call someone a honeypot when they're not than miss it and have it be a honeypot. So yeah, that's great. That sounds awesome.
And just, I guess, one last point I'll add to that is that, look, to me, the best determinant of whether a contract is safe or not, or a token is safe, is time. So if a token's been operating for a week, they haven't scammed yet, it's a good indication to me that it's probably not going to scam. At least compared to a token that's an hour old or half an hour old. So I guess that's some advice for new people. Look, playing with new tokens is really risky. Playing with older tokens is a lot easier. But it's a really good question, Steve.
Definitely, yeah. I appreciate you guys. Great answers, and you guys are killing it. Great job.
Thank you. Green Candle, go ahead.
All right, sorry for interrupting earlier. So my question is, sorry, maybe just my opinion, but it's a question also. I feel like this project is too good for the branding. Like the project could use some branding. So do you have any thoughts about improving on the brand, beginning with the name? Because Agents of I.N.U, it sounds like a meme coin. I understand the story behind it, but maybe you speak to someone who does branding, and because the project is too good for the brand. That is just my short way of saying it. So do you have any thoughts of working with the brand experts to improve on the brand? So that investors who are not here for a quick play can trust this token. We can put 10 BNB in it, we can put 2 BNB in it, and we feel very safe in the project.
Imi, do you want to go ahead and answer that one?
I think, look, I don't disagree with you, and but technically the only way we can rebrand would be a relaunch, and that's a lot of it's a lot of work. It's something
that's what I was going to say too. That would be tough, but at the same time, it's like a secret agent that goes into the code, and he's your secret little guy that protects you. So there's ways to brand it very well with what they got. A relaunch, man, that would be tough.
Yeah, so
it'd be tough. I mean, like if English come to shove, maybe, but I don't know.
Can I say something?
What do you reckon?
Can I say something?
yeah, of course, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand that the what do you call it? The relaunch is like the only way to redeploy a contract. It is scary for everybody, but it's doable, number one. And maybe you should not think about it like trying to make this current name work. You should try to think about it from the beginning, like taking a step back and talking about the brand without being biased about how hectic it could be to relaunch and the impact of a relaunch. Because honestly, yes, a relaunch can make or break a project depending on how the relaunch is done. A relaunch could even mean more investors, more clout. So a relaunch is not totally bad. It's hectic, it's difficult, it can break the entire project, but I believe that this project is bigger than a quick fix. So not that anybody is doing quick fix. There's been a lot of hard work in the project, but I mean, maybe a step back and discuss about the brand and separate the impact of branding in terms of where we are going versus the cost of rebrand.
It's all really good feedback, and look, it's probably a topic that's maybe too broad for this Q&A because I've got really strong opinions on that too. And part of it is that, so initially the project did start off as Trendify, and it's something that if you look at if you guys are sort of deaf inclined, you notice that our APIs is still called api.trendify.app. And it's something I've sort of been thinking about. Can Trendify become that global brand, and Agents of I.N.U just becomes one product within that? And I know that's still, you still have that, but if you can build up Trendify as a brand, that might be a way to alleviate that concern. Again, the other one is just education, time in market. People will hopefully begin to trust. So once you've heard about, the first time you hear about us, it's just another meme. You hear about us 3, 4, 5 times over the course of 2 months, and you might actually start to listen and say, okay, this token's still around. Is there something more to it? So I'm hoping time as well could alleviate those concerns. But look, it's a conversation that we've been having, we'll keep having. I don't know if we're going to get closure on this AMA, but definitely keep the feedback coming. And yeah, happy to take it up further down the track as well.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Amy, did you want to get to the questions that were asked via text?
Yeah, sure. All right, give me a sec. Oh, Timmy, are you online? Timmy?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, no worries. So I'll ask the questions Timmy asked from the Indonesian communities. So when we answer it, you can just translate it. So there were 4 questions.
The problem is the one answering is not actually joining the AMA, so I will just note it, I think.
Okay, no worries. So we'll start with their questions. Their first question is that will we be able to buy a coin within the app?
Maybe. I know Amy's really keen on that,
yes.
But I'll leave it at maybe for now. Look, we haven't decided. Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
I wonder. I'm just trying to push him.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Probably
Second question. Yeah. Second question is, when will you do a CERTIC audit?
Look, we've already done an audit with Watchtower. I know they're not as sort of well-known or reputable as CERTIC, but I don't think it'd be a wise spend of our funds right now. I think it's going to the point where our holders are, do trust who we are, do trust that we're legitimate as a. So it's something that we will defer until such time that we can comfortably afford it and it makes sense. And we're not there yet.
I think if we get to that level, we will have at least 10,000 holders and we have a certain amount of volume, and then it would make sense to do a CERTIC audit, but not right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Number 3, how can you assure that your application can work optimally?
I'm not sure what that means, but I guess the best way that we can do that is give us feedback if it's working suboptimally, and we'll work to make it work more
Do you think
optimally.
he's asking you trust the data?
Um,
Is that
sorry, just give me one moment. My daughter's just walked into the room.
okay? Give me a sec. Next question. Oh, we'll stick with that question. You ready, Abe?
Okay, sorry.
For a sec, when people are rushing the fact to buy tokens on the app and things like that, I don't think they're realizing that is a whole big venture that is not going to be decided early on. It's something that needs to be planned for. So obviously, you have a platform to do it, but it's not something you just have your fingers. Have text stuff to look into as far as being a fiduciary.
Yeah, 100%. It's not that easy. Dip Ether asked a question on WhatsApp. He goes, how do we intend to attract long-term investors and holders, and when is the tool mostly perceived as a quick play tool? When the tool is mostly perceived as a quick play tool? Maybe that.
Yeah. What's that the question? So, look, I'm not sure if I agree that it's seen as a quick play tool. I mean, I guess that's really up to the person that's doing the purchasing. So there's probably some people. I mean, people tend to think that because they're quick capers or whatever, everyone else is. But I know personally, I don't use it as a quick ape tool. I use it to discover sort of tokens that I might have missed and purchase them a week or two after launch. Because to me, that's probably the best time to buy a token. It's after that risk of it being a crash. I don't know if he's talking I might have misunderstood the question. I'm not sure if he's talking in terms of the token itself being a quick play or the app being designed to.
Oh wait, here is the second part to it. He goes, in other words, the tool is mostly used by degens who aim for quick profit. How will we attract long-term investors who aren't in for a quick profit?
Yeah, so part of that does include getting more sources of data in. So that's something that we're working. So the ability to integrate CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap data, hopefully Twitter data as well, and things of that nature. The more analysis that we do to give buyers legitimacy, but again, it's I think there's already enough there to try and find sort of legitimate older tokens that are starting to go back up again. We can do more there, but it's probably just an education thing more than anything else. Like, I think the tool's flexible enough. If you get familiar with the filtering, the sorting, it's actually really sort of useful to find tokens that are both new and sort of degen and tokens that are more legitimate. So I guess that's my answer to that question.
Yeah. You want to go back to that first question? What was that first question? How can you ensure the app works optimally? I guess.
Yeah, again, I think that's it's probably too vague a question. Like I said, look, we're always improving the app based on our own usage and community feedback. So that's all we can continue to do. Is try and make it the best that it can be.
All right. There's another question. Aside from Honeypot Checker, Rug Pool Checker, will there be any other major features added, like DEX, where you'll be able to swap tokens? Do you believe this token will be huge?
Well, I do, but so in terms of DEX, look, I think I'd like us to be DEX agnostic. So essentially, what we're trying to do is sort of analyze tokens and not sort of be biased to tokens that launch in our DEX. In an ideal world, would be an independent auditor. Essentially, that's analyzing every token with equal sort of justice, I guess. So probably not DEX, but again, like our aim right now is to become the best token tracker, token research tool in the DeFi space, both in BSC and other chains. So that's the goal that we're working towards. There is scope to do more, I guess, in future. But yeah, I mean, I guess the short to medium term focus is really getting that aspect to be the best in the market.
Yeah, cool. Any other questions, guys? Oh wait, we had one more in the message. No. That was it. Any other questions anybody want to ask? Probably?
Maybe I add comment sections in the applications. Comment section, technical analytics, and fundamental analytics also, and contract audit.
Cool. Was that comment section? Sorry.
Roger. As my research in data applications, there is no comment sections.
Okay.
And maybe we can add some technical analytics of this token and fundamental analysis both, and people can see what people feel.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And that's one part where we might actually integrate sort of functionality for being a large token holder might be around that ability to comment on tokens, but also, I mean, I do hope to sort of track if we do add that sort of social aspect where people can comment or upvote or downvote certain tokens. We'd be able to track that over time and sort of show that this person's a trusted token reviewer. So if he's saying it's safe, then you might want to take it for granted. Whereas you might want to take that, as being trustworthy. Whereas someone else might just be shooting their own bags, and those people would naturally get dropped down because we'd be doing analytics on what they're upvoting and what they're downvoting and tracking that over time. But yeah, that's a really good suggestion too.
We have a question from Crazy Killer. He messaged. He said, "Do you have plans for burning tokens in the future to reduce the supply of the token and increase its investment attractiveness?"
So
any future burn plans?
Probably not. If anything, we might do future buybacks in some capacity. So right now effectively are burning by to the liquidity pool. So every time there's a buy or sell, we're burning the pool. We're sending a portion of that to the liquidity pool. But in terms of just pure burns, I'm not convinced that there's any sort of utility or benefit to doing that, to be honest.
Any other questions?
When do you plan on monetizing the app?
Look, that's a really good question, and it's one that gets asked very regularly. And look, I wish I had an answer for you, but look, I'm still not convinced that it's the best way of monetizing, and it's not really. I mean, it's something that's come up from a lot of sort of people in the space who've created utility tokens. How do you monetize it, and what is the best way of monetizing? So it is a conversation that I am hoping to have pretty soon with a few sort of trusted people, myself and a few others. So I think we're still toying around what is the best way. And part of it is that a lot of our holders don't have a huge amount invested in, and it's about that. It's about how do you do it in a way that's fair to people across the world. If you're from a country where $50 or $100 is a huge amount of money, whereas people in other countries might have the ability to invest $500 or $1,000 and it not be a huge amount. So how do you keep it fair and ensure everybody gets access to that information?
Another thing is that if we monetize it too soon, it could affect the exposure of the project because people don't want to throw $50 to check out the app. So we want to get the app to a certain level where people can use it for free. So then when we do monetize it, they would gladly pay to keep using the app. If we monetize it too early, it could really, hinder the process. Do you agree, or?
Yeah, no, I agree. But look, I mean, if you notice that most apps that have gone down that monetization path end up opening up more and more features to everybody. And I guess I mean, there's that aspect to it as well. But look again. So I know it's not really a sort of concrete answer because we don't have a concrete answer to give right now. But it's something that we're thinking about in the background. But like you said, our focus right now is getting more users.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so monetizing might not necessarily mean subscription. It could be maybe advertisement one, and the other one could be project listing to have like a slot, maybe top project or something. I wouldn't encourage to monetize like a slot for top project of the day or something like that. That would be better if it's like a legit project, but that could also be another way to monetize. So it's not necessarily a subscription model.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, Cora, did you have a comment to make?
Yeah, or even just being a holder of the token to get access to the app at the start.
Yeah, so I guess what Green Cow was saying is that there are other avenues that might be better. So like again, we do want to reward holders and give them access, give them some benefit for being holders, but it's how you go about that. There's actually quite a few ways we can incentivize holding the token. So even rewards to holders, right? So people who are holding the token, we might give them rewards. But yeah, I do agree. So things like ads are definitely an option. Even services that we can provide might be another option. But look, these are all things that are, I guess, up in the air. And Green Candle, actually, I really appreciate your insight on. Yeah, I think you've made quite a lot of well-reasoned points today. So yeah, thanks for sharing that too.
Thank you for listening.
No problem.
Yeah, and I'd have to say as well that monetizing it too early until you have a pretty big subscription and user base, it's kind of a recipe for disaster because it makes it seem cheap. And if you were to, even monetize it to the point of doing like a top one, then you kind of get into kind of the perception of like what Coin Hunt and Coin Sniper is, just a kind of a cheap little site that doesn't have all the utilities that you guys have. So I got to agree with what pretty much everybody said in here.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's yeah. Yeah, and I probably want to pick your brain a bit more on that one too. But cool. Was that it for questions?
Somebody else just asked another question. Similar to the previous question, how many percentage can Dev can guarantee this app performance to scan the token? Because I've found some tokens that have honeypot in the wrong indication in the app. So yeah, so he's pretty much aped into a project that's at green and then it turned into a honeypot later.
There's no real guarantees, right? Like every investment in this space has that risk associated. So all I can say to you is do as much research as you can. Don't just trust any one tool, because no one tool is going to give you 100% certainty that the token is safe to invest in or not. It's just another tool in your arsenal to help you make an informed decision, right? So find out what works for you. If you are really sort of fearful of investing in a honeypot, then one, don't buy any token that's just released, because there's a very high chance it will be a scam. To work out what works for you from an investment point of view. I know personally I don't like to invest in new tokens because I do prefer tokens that I'm a bit more confident about. So do your research, see what the app has to say. We will improve the contract analysis section, so hopefully that'll give you a bit more certainty. But again, these tools are just designed to make it a lot easier for you to do that research and get that understanding of what a token is. But no one can make 100% guarantee that a token is safe.
No one can, because they keep upgrading the scams.
Yeah, it's a cat and mouse game.
Changing.
It's a cat and mouse game between scammers and people like us, the good guys, I guess. And look, everyone's evolving and trying to get better. And like anything in the world, it's all it's like cops and criminals. You're always trying to get ahead of the other. So
exactly. And we plan on introducing a section within the website where you can provide us feedback with a coin that you aped into, and it was shown as a green light but turned up being a scam. And if it's something that we didn't pick up, we'll analyze why we didn't pick it up and probably incorporate it into our analyzer. So we're going to incorporate that thing into our app shop in the near future.
Yeah, and I got to say too, with any type of app or contract scanner, even if it's the best one in the world that can scrape the entire internet and tell you what you had for breakfast on your 7th birthday, nothing's going to guarantee safety, especially when Ethereum's the suburbs and BSC is the ghetto. You're never going to be able to guarantee safety. So
essentially,
I appreciate that.
Thank you for the clarification. Anyone else with any questions before we call it?
One person in the community actually asked, and the person is actually here, B.K. Where is it? It's gone now. But he asks, how can your system determine that a token is safe or not, is a honey or not? What data you analyze? Because one day he searched a token and in the app, and it was green. It was not honeypot, but in a few days it turns into honeypot. So it's a late honeypot. Yeah, how can you respond to this? Respond to that token?
So what the honeypot does, it actually tries to buy and sell, so via a simulation. So it's extremely accurate at that point in time that the token is not a honeypot. I say over 99% accuracy that token is not a honeypot. But the issue is the scam is in the contract code itself, so developers can decide at any point in time to turn the token into a honeypot. So whether it's green in honeypot doesn't mean it's always going to be green. It's just an indication that right now, if you do buy, you'll be able to sell. That can change in the future. It could change in a minute, it could change in an hour, it could change in a day, it could change in 3 days, right? And that's all at the discretion of the contract holder. And it might never become a honeypot. So there are a lot of tokens out there that can become honeypots, but the devs are legitimate. They're not there to scam you, so they just never invoke that functionality. So and that's part of the issue, right? Like we've accepted as a sort of community to allow contract code out there that is inherently flawed, and no one. I've picked up on it in the past, and essentially I've been shut down by people saying, like, who cares? People that probably don't understand sort of code. Like having worked in sort of as a software engineer for 10 years, there are standards that we adhere to in the real world that just don't exist in the DeFi space, right? And we are people like us are trying to improve those standards, but it's a journey, right? It's a long struggle, and the incentive is there to not improve it. Like at the end of the day, it is the Wild West. People want that ability to make a huge amount of money, and a part of that, needs some scams to exist to some extent. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I really answered the question. I mean, I probably went off track there a bit, but that's part of the issue in a nutshell, is that as a community, until we demand of token developers that they adhere to certain standards, you're never going to be able to guarantee that a token doesn't become a honeypot.
We have a question from Rick HQ. He's asked a few questions which we've answered already, but one of the questions we haven't answered is, he asked, can we buy tokens directly on the app? That's something we will consider for the future. It's a big process, so it could be something potentially. Abe doesn't want to say yes yet. The next one is, can we see all tokens on the PSC network on the app? Not in the top holders section, in the top token section. That only shows tokens with activity. But with the token page release, you can just insert the contract, and it will show you any token you want to find.
And that feature is not there yet, but it will be there in the future. I think
we'll be there by this week, hopefully.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, Amy. For Q&A.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
And if you could, just real quick before you wrap it, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a question, more of a comment. I've heard a lot of questions in here. I've been following you guys for quite a while, watching the progress and everything. There's been a lot of questions about when this, when that, why not sooner marketing, but it's spelled without an H. Basically, the speed you guys have been delivering the product and the utilities within the app and everything in itself. I personally want to just say hats off to you. I don't think anything needs to be rushed. It's better to be right than to be fast. And I think you guys are doing a great job. So just wanted to throw that in there. And great job, guys.
Thanks, Steve. Much appreciated. Thanks for that.
Thank you very much. Abe, one more thing before we go. We've got to discuss the next competition we have coming up is a meme competition. So we'll be announcing it on Twitter shortly. The best person who can create the best meme of Agents of I.N.U will win $100 worth of Agent Shiba Inu tokens. and there's a second prize, $50, and the third prize, $25 worth. So that'll be announced shortly. And we will also announce the best 3 questions of tonight. Abe, what do you think?
Do we do it live or do we get back to it? My number one, so the obvious one for me was Green Candle Artist. I thought that was a really well asked question, and so that's one. Do you have any thoughts from your enemy?
Steve asked a shitload of questions.
Okay, so
Congratulations, Steve.
and number
Hey, I don't need to win anything. How about you? You pick someone else, and I just appreciate the work you guys are putting in. You know, let's
Okay.
give it to someone.
Sure.
I think Goldbringer asked.
Dip Eater?
Yeah. Okay. So Dip Eater, Green Artist, and Green Candle Artist, and Goldbringer are the 3.
Okay, that's 4 people. Is that 4 or 3?
That's 3. So congrats to the 3 winners. So Green Cat, we'll post it in the chat anyway. But if you guys can message your contract address to Agent Shiba Rewards, we'll send out your tokens to you shortly.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned. We will update you shortly.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Okay.
See you later.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
Thanks, Robert. See you, mate.